This week on TGC News, CZ takes a shot at the shield, HK updates the Vp9, more threaded lever guns, NRAAM and USCCA Expo are canceled, the TGC panel is canceled, and the weirdest survival revolver that I've ever seen. TacPack is an enthusiast subscription service that is focused on bringing you the stuff you need straight to your door on a monthly basis. Every month is different, and you can be met with gun parts, accessories, cleaning gear, or even some bigger and cooler shenanigans. And because you're subscribed to TGC, if you use the code TGCBAG over at TacPack.com, you'll get a free grab bag with your next order. Welcome back to another episode of TGC News, the only gun news show that covers things you actually care about. My name is Jon Patton. As the entire world slides deeper into quarantine and bathing in disinfectant, I wanted to try my best to bring a little joy to your lives. That being said, let's kick this week's show off with a little desk pop. Yeah, that was a streamer that drunkenly fired a live round into his own desk. Way to go, bro. Top notch. Okay, now that you feel better for not having been that guy, how about some news? First up this week, one of the most interesting guns I've seen in a long time. It's called the MC6, and it's made by a company you've never heard of called Quest Firearms. This gun is interesting for a few reasons. I'll get to all of them. First off, it's being marketed as a survival gun. It's basically a giant revolver. However, instead of having a normal cylinder to hold the rounds before they go into the barrel, they're shot out of the cylinder and then jump into the barrel, each of the bores in the cylinder are actually rifled. That's why that thing is so long. It's very reminiscent, and one of the co-founders of this brand comes from a company that makes those adapters for shotguns. That being said, the thing that looks like a barrel that's sticking out the front has to be a non-rifled tube because of the next thing that makes it interesting. This is a multi-caliber system. When you order one of these, you can choose what caliber you want each individual bore to be chambered in. So you could do like a 22, a 5.56, a 308, a 410, all in the same sort of cylinder. And in regards to the tube out the front, there's no way to have the correct rifling for that huge list of calibers you can get for this thing. So I know it's just got to be a tube. So it's a revolver with a multi-caliber rifled cylinder, and you can buy other cylinder barrels, as they call it. You can pick from the custom one, that's what you get with the main package, or the Hunter cylinder barrel, which has a 45/410, 1.223 bore, 1.243, 1.308, 1.30-06, and 1.30-30 chamber. Then you have the Battle cylinder barrel, which has a 7.6251, a 308, 270, 30-30, 7.62x39, and 5.56 chambers. Or, if you're feeling froggy, you can get what they call the Big Bore cylinder barrels, which has 6 of the same calibers chambered, including things like 5.56, 44 mag, 410, 30-06, and 45 ACP. There's a big list. It's a strange mix to be calling Big Bore, but whatever. All of this appears to be built with the back end of a Smith & Wesson revolver, which just adds to the entire strangeness of this thing. I guess, why engineer your own when you can chop up a perfectly good revolver, right? It continues to be interesting with the fact that the 7-inch long cylinders would indicate a 5-ish inch rifling length, depending on the caliber, of course. And even though it has that, you'd be surprised that they're bragging about this thing having a buttstock. Functionality-wise, that's great. A stock on a handgun type thing is great, but that would make it an NFA item. Nowhere on their website does it say anything besides all NFA rules apply. I suspect this thing might still be under review at ATF, hence the sort of not mentioning it doesn't matter, smoke and mirrors approach that they're doing. So let's recap. It's a giant multi-caliber revolver with individually rifled bores that can be swapped out for a huge variety of calibers and could potentially be an NFA item. The price is also a really interesting point. According to the front page of their website, you can buy the MC6 package with a custom cylinder barrel tube, a scabbard, a cleaning kit, and a laser light foregrip for the low price of $1,699. For reference, they value the cleaning kit at $40 freaking dollars. I would never pay that for a cleaning kit. So that's comical, right? But when you go to the order page, it says you get all of that same exact stuff for $1,997. Better yet, I've been calling this the MC6 by Quest Firearms because that's on the website. But this same website that can't decide on pricing also says that the gun is called the Scavenger 6 and it's made by a company called Scavenger Armory. Yes, it actually has two different names for the gun and the company on the same website. The site is also doused in gun speak for morons too, with selling points like a high-powered laser for accuracy in day and night. They brag about the pistol grip and buttstock, taking the kick out of the gun. There's no kick in the dang thing now, because it's got a buttstock and a pistol grip. And it also says the revolver design is a much more reliable platform than traditional semi-automatic weapons. Whoever is behind this company is not a gun guy. That's for sure. And at the price point of $1,700 or even $2,000, this is a very expensive gun for what you're getting. I want to know what you guys think. Is this something that you would consider for an actual survival situation? Or would you prefer a gun with a single barrel and removable magazines? Sound off in the comments and let's talk about it. Also, side note, I've already requested one of these for a review, but I haven't heard back yet. We'll see if they return my email after seeing this. Lots more to cover this week, so you guys know what time it is. Izzy, hit it! First up in our rapid fire segment are a new set of lever guns from Chiappa, however you want to pronounce it, called Wildlands lever actions. There is an 1886 takedown, which is chambered in 4570 with a threaded 18.5-inch barrel, and the 1892, which has several flavors, all chambered in 44 mag with a 16.5-inch barrel, also threaded, and either a dark gray finish with that really nice laminate, or a color case hardened receiver with a nice hand-oiled walnut set of furniture. Honestly, these rifles are beautiful, but they should be for the pricing that starts at about $1,434 and goes up to about $2,100. Next up this week, CZ has a new one called the P10M or P10 Micro. Essentially, it's a shrunken version of the P10 that a lot of you guys absolutely love. You guys love the P10. I hear about it all the time. It's got a 3.3-inch barrel and a 7-round magazine. Yep. Smart viewers will know that that means they turned it into a single stack gun. Attention, Smith & Wesson! A new challenger has entered to go up against the Shield! Interestingly enough, the gun is also missing a slide release lever, likely to cut down on the sort of horizontal footprint, kind of in line with the 365 SAS that we talked about not long ago. No word on pricing yet, but I'm betting it will land at around $400. This is one to watch for sure. Also in the news this week, HK has updated the Vp9 lineup. Now, instead of 15-round mags, the gun ships with 17-rounders. That's great. They've also updated the factory-installed sights with the sort of high-vis front. It's a big, circular, big old dot, and a serrated black rear sight instead of the total 3-dot setup that it used to come with. And they've added an optic cut to the guns. Basically, they brought it up to 2020 standards and increased the value on the gun. However, that comes with a bump in price from the MSRP of $719 all the way up to $799. Considering the additions to the gun, that's not really surprising. Do you guys hear that? It's a mix of sadness and people coughing. Must be time for the struggle bus. This week, the struggle bus theme is the Wuhan virus, also known as COVID-19 or coronavirus.
I need toilet paper! Coronavirus! Please, God, give me some toilet paper!
It continues to dominate the actions of the world, and the gun industry was unable to escape it. Last week, we had the announcement of the USCCA Concealed Carry Expo being postponed. It was scheduled to be held in Kansas City on March 20th to the 22nd, and now it's sort of up in the air. They don't have a date announced. The city declared a state of emergency, and that shut down any events of that magnitude for the initial period of 21 days. At this point, they don't know when it's going to be rescheduled, but I suspect it could be a while. Also announced last week, the NRA annual meeting has been canceled, citing a very similar story. The event, which was originally scheduled for April 16th to the 19th, is no longer happening. Despite your feelings about the NRA, that event brings a big crowd and is a great place for brands and the gun-buying public to connect. And because of that announcement, we, here at TGC, have had to cancel this year's TGC panel event, which sort of coincides with NRAAM every year. We hadn't actually been able to make the announcement that it was happening. The planning was happening. We had some sponsors going and things like that, but it's not happening anymore. We do, however, plan to host a separate event later this year, hopefully in early summertime, providing things calm down. It really all comes down to this massive reaction to the virus. And I know that some of you think all of this is an overreaction, and some of you are the opposite end of that and built TP forts. But the reality is it's better to not have people getting sick. So we're going to wait things out, and when the coast is clear, a new TGC event will arise. We will obviously keep you up to date on that. Also, if you own or work at a range here in the Northeast, we're in southeastern Pennsylvania, and you want to help us host a big event, please let me know. NeoMag offers a slick solution to discreetly carrying a spare magazine securely in your pocket. Available in small, medium, and large to hold anything from 380 to 10 mil. Also now available are the extended clip versions, which allow you to carry deeper in your pocket or carry your spare mag with an extension. Utilizing strong neodymium magnets, a steel backer, and titanium clips, these things are built to last. To get 10% off your entire order over at theneomag.com, use the code TGC10. And now, as you guys always request, Patton's Armory. This is a segment where I grab one of my personal guns and tell you about it. This right here is a Taurus G3. We recently put out a review on this gun, and I will reiterate for those that may not have seen it, this is one of the best budget guns that I've ever shot. The value proposition on this is fantastic. Please go watch that review. We've also put out one on the Bull Armory Cherokee really recently. That's another great one. But this thing is freaking fantastic. I really used to crap on Taurus guns all the time. That was like a constant thing for me. This has changed my mind. And we actually have another Taurus coming, a TX22 coming. And I'm also trying to get a hold of a Glock 44 so we can compare the TX22 directly to the Glock 44. But boys and girls, the G3 from Taurus is part of my collection now because of that review, and I'll tell you what, I genuinely like it. I think this is an impressive gun. If you guys enjoyed this little look at my guns and you want to see more, let me know in the comments. It's time once again for Friendly Fire, the segment where I answer your questions from all over the interwebs. This time, our questions are coming from our loyal Subscribestar supporters. If you aren't supporting us over on Subscribestar, please go down in the description, click the link, and support us over there. That would be fan-freaking-tastic. First up this week, Christian Enevoldson says, what is the one thing you are most bummed about not getting to do at NRAAM? Honestly, not having the panel sucks because that means I didn't really get a chance to link up with you guys that are out there watching and supporting us. That genuinely bums me out. Adam Chervis says, what do you suggest if Biden passes a law to confiscate or buy back all assault weapons? Let's be realistic about this. This is a serious question, but it requires a realistic answer. That requires Joe Biden to get over having dementia, beat Bernie Sanders, and then beat Donald Trump. Then it's important to note that Biden isn't in control of passing laws here in the U.S. Sure, he could use his executive powers, but he can't necessarily pass a law by himself. The Senate and the House would both have to get behind such a thing. And right now, I don't see that happening. And I think at this point, it's smart for me to stop speculating beyond that. Next up, Downskated says, after the success of the 6.5 Creedmoor and the unsuccess of the 224 Valkyrie, what's the next successful caliber you see, and which one is endangered? The next successful one I see on the horizon is either going to be 6mm Creedmoor or the 6.5 PRC. It's hard to tell at this point because it took years for the 6.5 Creedmoor to get where it currently is. That caliber's been out for a long time. It didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It's been out for a while, and just recently, in the last 3-4 years, started to pick up a lot of steam. And I think 350 Legend is on the chopping block. Brandon Rose says, with the rise of 5.7, do we need a new self-defense round? Well, 5.7, again, has been around for a long time. It just got popular because of the Ruger 5.7. Really, that's, I think, one of the biggest catalysts here. And that depends on how you look at it. Will the calibers available right now do the trick? Yeah. Could we have better bullet designs overall? Maybe, probably. Is there something out there that can make all the stuff we currently shoot obsolete? Again, maybe. I think it would be very hard, very difficult to unseat 9mm as the king of defensive calibers right now, but generally speaking, I don't see a new caliber being introduced and just completely usurping everything. I don't see that happening. My friendly fire question to you guys, are you prepared for the coronavirus? I'm talking, are you financially prepared? Do you have all the supplies you need? Are you legitimately prepared for this? If not, if you say, maybe not, what do you feel like you need to do still? Sound off in the comments, and if you want to ask a friendly fire question, send that to me over on theguncollective.com. That is it for this week's show. I would love it if you guys hit the like button. That would be awesome. And if you think we've earned it, get subscribed as well. As always, thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon. One more time. One more time.
Oh my God! The coronavirus! It's here! What are we gonna do? Coronavirus! I need toilet paper! Please, God, give me some toilet paper!
Oh, that was awesome.
Yep, it's over, but don't worry, you can click on the video up top to watch last week's show, and the one below that is the one that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Check them out and let me know what you think.